There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here, the line fades to nothing at all.
This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Hello, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Capes and Lunatics episode 24.
We need more pumpkins.
Our Halloween edition.
Save us, pumpkins will save us all.
I am Phil, and that pretty face over there is Charlotte.
Charlie the Professor Esser, hello.
And there's another pretty boy over there. It's Tyler.
It is Tyler, the man who manages children early in the morning.
Tyler Pumpkinhead Patrick.
Yeah, I will be Pumpkinhead Patrick for the day.
And it's Lilith
Just
joining
in
the
time.
show.
Just in time.
She got here.
And with impeccable timing, it's
Look, hey guys.
Yes.
Hey.
9:37.
I figured I had some time. Our theme song's so damn long, so.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, we were just speaking about how soon the Great Little Hellfire will not be able to do 9:30 a.m. shows.
the show's international.
Or she's going to the West Coast, and we're very excited for her and her grand achievements in life.
Yay.
Yay, Vancouver!
One of us is somebody. Yeah.
Congratulations.
She was always more of a somebody than any of us. We all know that. Oh.
I'm just gonna be trolling in anonymity at some firm. Don't worry about it. Job's a job.
She worked at Smallville, dang it.
Don't blow the
That's
secret.
as close as you get to superstardom as we've ever known.
Don't blow the secret identity, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah, so Lilith, you're moving to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Is Mandarin the second language there? Because I don't think it's French. Because I remember my Canadian relatives made a whole thing about
it's still technically French, but they have a huge Asian, specifically Chinese population. The nickname for it is Vancouver. So, yeah.
Yeah, because that was a thing, because of course, as part of the Canadian Charter of Rights, is minority language rights need to be respected, which is why French is on everything in most of Canada, but on the West Coast, because much like the West of the United States, they're very individualistic in the Canadian West. They said, well, our minority language isn't French here. No one speaks French here. Our minority language is Mandarin. So you'll see a lot of Mandarin on your cereal boxes there.
And bagged milk. I'm so excited for bagged milk. You don't even know.
It's shelf stable, Lilith. That's the glory of bagged milk.
I know. I love bagged milk. Like, I'm not one of those weird. Why is your milk in a bag? Like, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that we don't have shelf stable milk in the U.S. How do we not have shelf stable milk? Big
agriculture. They don't want, and big dairy. They don't want us to have nothing.
Well,
the idea you can just put milk in a bag on your shelf and not refrigerate it, and just refrigerate it when you want it to be cold. It's like it saves time, it saves energy. It is just, yes, you have to buy a milk pitcher.
I already have.
And that maybe it's all just big plastic trying to say let's make them buy an extra item in their house for their milk.
Because we don't have enough plastic as it is. Yeah,
yes, they don't.
It is
not nearly enough.
So Lilith, when did
gotta remember, man, industry is all capitalism is based on the fact that we need to sell people more stuff, but people already have stuff. Yes, so it's like they just need to think of tell them they have to put milk in bags. There we go. We'll sell them milk things because they have to have their milk in bags.
When did they issue your beady eyes and flapping head?
About the beginning of March. I have a floppy little head and beady little eyes, just like real Canadians in real life. Yes.
Looking forward to it.
Hey.
So what are we talking about this week, boys?
I don't know.
Wants to discuss?
Halloween?
Okay,
one
no,
Shazam?
stop.
Oh, okay, no, wait. Lilith had a topic. So, Lilith, don't ask us what we want to talk about because we might have had something, and you wouldn't get to talk the whole episode. You have something to say. Say,
You might have had
here's what we're talking about today. Here's the issue. Riverdale sucks. Go.
What?
I agree. It's not for my demographic. It's not, and so I don't. It sucks to me, but there's plenty of people that like it. The second season premiere was really high. Wednesday, I'm kind of pissed because it took Arrow's spot. I don't understand that, but apparently it worked for them for their demographic. So good on them. I hope they get that guy that's the lead actor a damn driver since he fell asleep while driving. Whatever. A lot to say about Riverdale, but I'm just gonna say it's not for me. I was very disappointed with it. I gave up after 3 episodes. So
I was just tossing it out as a thing I thought you might want to talk about, but go ahead. Great. I'm glad you could talk about it.
But that's not what I'm talking about. Is Zachary Levi really playing Shazam? Like, is this a rumor? Is this a hoax?
See, that's what I want.
Okay. So
I can see it, but I'm like, he needs to hit the gym because Shazam's like...
Rolling it back. He's playing Billy Baston.
Not the wizard, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's playing Billy Baston, which means they're going with, apparently, I guess, a 20-year-old? How old is this guy? Is he like, he's like 72, right? I mean,
he's like 40, which is like 72 Hollywood years.
Yeah, but that's a little old to be playing Billy Baston, I'm going to say. Because even in the 70s, he was in his 20s,
I mean, that link I sent last night was from Entertainment Weekly, so...
That might be official tissue then.
Yeah, well, I know, but they give him the statement of Billy Baston, not Shazam. Unless No. Oh.
Well, then they won't have the rights to that character, so I don't think they're going to CGI him.
No. What they're doing. Okay, I see. I connect it all. What they're doing is they're doing the Miracle Man story in sort of a halfway thing. So he is William Baston, the grown-up Billy Baston, who has a vague recollection that when he was a kid, he used to pretend he was Shazam. Then Black Adam comes back, going to destroy the world, and he has to remember that he was once Shazam.
But Black Adam's not supposed to be in the Shazam movie.
Yeah, he's gonna get his first solo movie and then come do the second Shazam. I'm like, there's not gonna be a second Shazam movie. Stop playing with me, DC. Stop playing with me.
Okay, well then none of this makes any sense then.
It's DC though. Of course it doesn't make sense.
So so I guess
he's supposed to be like Captain Marvel / Shazam, which is the poor character that has no name. Because I hate calling him Captain Marvel because of all the Marvel references.
Exactly.
And then I hate calling him Shazam because that's supposed to be the wizard that he calls on because even Black Adam says Shazam.
Okay, so Big Red Cheese. We've all agreed. His new name is Big Red Cheese.
Yeah, and that's fine by me. Here's what I'm going to say. Okay. So if they're not going to put Black... Okay, no, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Charlie, because I'll add something later at the end. Go ahead.
So if they've said that they're not going to put The Rock, who should have been Shazam in the first place, because why can't you have a white Shazam become a Afro-Pacific giant instead? That makes perfect sense to me. It doesn't make it. If Shazam were someone other than Billy Batson, that just emphasizes the fact that Billy Batson uses the magic words to become Shazam. But so if they're going to do that, what they're going to do is they're going to do a Superman 1, Superman 2 thing, where you have Billy Batson remember he's Shazam, a la Miracle Man, and yeah, Katoma. Sikoma. No, Sikoma. That's it. It's atomic backwards because the 60s. Anyway, so he remembers that he's Shazam. He becomes Shazam, but then that awakens Black Adam. So Black Adam comes back in in Shazam 2, Electric Boogaloo.
He has his own spin-off movie. So it's just, okay, DC just needs to get it together. I'm over it. I'm actually over The Rock now. Oh my God, anybody who like really knows me that listens to this, they're probably like, what? Like, I'm the biggest Rock fan, but he's oversaturated the market, and I'm done with him.
What has he done in that he's oversaturated the market? He's been in Jumanji,
Fast and the Furious, Hercules is really where I was like, okay, I'm done with you, Rock.
Wait. Oh no, his Hercules was fantastic.
Nope, I liked Ian Kellen, the guy from Twilight's Hercules better. Sorry.
Wow.
Unpopular opinion.
But his Hercules had swearingen. Which was fantastic.
Yes, Deadwood reference. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so you can't tell me I love, because his Hercules was about how the myths and reality aren't the same. I mean, it
just felt like it was the Scorpion King all over again, but this time he's wearing a wolf's head. I'm sorry.
Well, see, I never saw the Scorpion King. That's the trick for me. I don't watch movies that don't really speak to me.
I was a huge Rock fan, and I watched it as a young child with the sound off sometimes. Okay.
I see both points, but I didn't like The Rock's Hercules just because I wanted a Hercules movie, not a movie about Hercules, the human who has this myth that he's a god. I wanted straight up like real Hercules. Fooled me. But
come on, even the Disney version of Hercules was better than that Rock Hercules.
Oh yeah, Disney version.
No, see, this is the difference between Marvel and DC fans. DC fans want a hero who's just all heroic all the time, like a Superman or a Batman who makes no mistakes. Marvel fans, we know every hero was once a human, and is still a human. And the power responsibility dynamic is still
it's their responsibility to market correctly so people aren't disappointed.
Yeah.
Like if they would have marketed that, I wouldn't have went to go see it.
I might have seen it, but
actually I did go see the Scorpion King, but I had to leave. So my wife does not like the sound of swords being unsheathed, and there's a lot of sound of swords being unsheathed.
Oh, does she have like one of those ASMR things?
Yeah, it's a thing. It just really bugs her, and so we really had to leave. It was yeah. But it sounds like I dodged a bullet, so okay.
You did good stuff. But I love that Mummy franchise. You say what you want, but I love the Brendan Fraser Mummy franchise.
I love Brendan Fraser. I mean, honestly, I don't know why they recast him as Tom Cruise.
I hate
How do you recast
that's what I said, Brendan Fraser's Mummy franchise, okay?
Not the new Mummy franchise. I hate the third Mummy movie.
I don't think that's a franchise yet.
Well, it's in the shared universe of Universal Monsters, so...
I wish...
They don't reference the Brendan Fraser Mummy in that, do they?
We're not looking for Tyler talk, Lilith.
I know, I'm sorry, Ty.
They reference the Brendan Fraser Mummy as a wink, just to be cute. There's a scene where the book that they read from, in the Book of the Dead that they read from in the Brendan Fraser, falls out of the library that Dr. Jekyll has. And it's just supposed to be a wink at it.
You actually went to see that movie?
No, I rented it on Redbox for free, and then re-edited it into a 94. Wait, I got down to 1 hour of watchable crap. And I was gonna say is with the Shazam thing. Have you seen the new TV spot for Justice League, where you see a character,
the guy with the lightning thing?
That's they say it's either Zeus or it could be the original Wizard Shazam.
I think it's the original Wizard Shazam. It makes more sense.
And I'm kind of curious if there'll be some sort of nod to Shazam based on the fact that he's supposed to get his powers from, Zeus is one of the guys that supposedly the wizard draws power from.
Along with Solomon. So it's like the wisdom of Solomon.
Yes.
And Solomon, then it's all Greek gods.
Yep. So it's very interesting. But I wonder if it's going to be Zeus or if it'll be some sort of like setting up just a nod to Shazam.
Because I would have rather take the animated Justice League movie approach where we already have Shazam instead of Cyborg. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Well,
you know what?
That was a whole rights issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not for nothing, Lilith, they needed to have someone of color, and they didn't want to change any of them to color. And they could have changed
They did.
Aquaman to color.
I was gonna say they did. Jason Momoa tech. I mean, I'm just saying.
He's Hawaiian, bro.
Pacific Islander.
Like he even said when someone said something, like they asked him,
close enough.
He's like, I'm Hawaiian, bro. Like, of course I can swim.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, and technically, Gal Gadot isn't white. She's Israeli.
Yeah, she's Israeli. Okay, so granted. Okay, so there we go. It's only my American sense of race that causes it to seem very white.
You mean the fact that we always see is one color?
You know. Yeah. But for what it's worth, they felt they needed an African American character, and
they couldn't do John Stewart.
Well, yeah, they could, but you have to remember Jon Stewart and
We're not allowed to talk about the Green Lanterns in the DC Cinematic Universe right now. It's still too soon.
No, I was gonna go way darker than that, but I'm gonna be good today.
I mean, Cyborg's a cool character.
Have to have Cyborg the African American character.
I mean, everything.
Crux of why.
When they were all,
early Cyborg is popular because of Teen Titans.
Well, I mean, all these characters, all the ideas they were pulling from were New 52-esque ideas. When you think about when they started, like pre-production, what was going on in the comics at that time, and what was quote unquote more popular.
Nothing.
The only reason why Cyborg is popular is because of Teen Titans, and most importantly, Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go is the entire reason why you have Cyborg in this. Titans Cartoon Network franchise. You would not... And honestly, I'm going to say, without Teen Titans Go, you wouldn't have Cyborg in this.
I agree. That's not a compliment.
I mean, I think just because they just looked at, issue number 1 of Justice League from New 52 and like, oh, this is a Cyborg origin. Mother boxes? Dark side?
But
we can make
see, here's the thing.
This.
When this, no, go ahead.
That's all I'm saying. Is like it's just the outline bones of the movie is just straight up from that story arc. Darkseid's invading. Cyborg's created by a mother box. He's a living mother box. So they have him on the team.
It does give you a tie-in.
Don't even get me started on that origin. Of course, Cyborg.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, it's the inherent idea that in order to be an African American superhero, you have to be
tragic
from yourself, in a way. And we'll leave it at that. There's so much doctoral level analysis that goes into why people will accept a cyborg and not a Green Lantern. Because a Green Lantern is a black man with a gun. And a gun that can destroy anything he wants, and that scares people, and that's why they won't let him in the movies. Arguably.
It'll happen.
Well, that's like really like overthinking things.
Yeah,
that's Marvel fans. They gotta dig deep to make sense of stuff.
Yeah, honestly, this stuff has to play in the South, and the South is still the South. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Phil can't go one episode.
Phil has not said a single word this episode. Hey, Phil, what do you think?
He's the moderator. He's just trying to wait for one of us to come to us back so he can press the button.
I'm only going to speak through sound effects.
Yeah.
So, Phil, what are you going to talk about, good sir?
So don't reference Bumblebee.
You had an awesome interview. That was fun, you and Charlie.
Oh yeah, with Mr. Peter David. Yeah. We covered
that man swears like a sailor.
Just because he called you dumbass.
No, it was not that.
It's pronounced Dumas.
Dumas. Like the great writer, Alexander Dumas.
Exactly. Oh, that Twix commercial. No, that Snickers commercial is the best.
But yeah, he's
yes.
Actually, no, that was Mug Root Beer, Lilith.
Was it Mug Root Beer?
It was Mug Root Beer because the foam goes straight to your brain. Because the guy drinks the Mug Root Beer, and it makes him dumb. And so it says, so Mr. Dumbass. And it says, it's pronounced Dumas, yes. Mug root beer, the foam goes straight to your brain. That was their catchphrase. That was their thing. I always remember the products for the commercials I like. I'm like the only American who does that. Every other American just remembers the commercials. I actually remember the products.
Chips?
And Tyler is eating chips, yes. See, I ate my chips before the show started.
I'm not eating. I'm actually opening plastic bags. I'm opening plastic bags for Solomon.
Oh.
Yeah, Solomon.
He wants to play with the bat decorations that we have.
Oh, okay.
Are you waiting for Halloween to put the day after Halloween to put up your Christmas?
We're having a Halloween party tonight, so.
Oh, nice.
Yay. Yeah. See? Halloween is such a movable feast of late. Yes.
I mean, they started way back in July when I worked at Home Depot for 2 years, so.
Yeah. Well, no, but I mean, like, Halloween used to be on Halloween.
Oh.
For those of you who remember back in the day. Those of you who are watching Stranger Things and know that Halloween used to fall on Halloween, which was occasionally a school day. Now we don't, people are doing Halloween on, let's do it the Friday, let's do it the Saturday, let's do it the Sunday.
What's interesting is, like, we've planned out, like, with all the different festivities, we've had, like, 3 days in a row full of Halloween nights. And then downtown here, the businesses are actually doing where you can trick or treat in the businesses, actually on Halloween. So it's interesting, like, when all's said and done, we will wrap up basically. Yeah, basically it'll be like a week of Halloween festivities.
Well, awesome.
I tried to tell my dad, he's like, how much candy do you need? I'm like, Dad, it's not about
all the candy. You need all the candy.
It's about letting Solomon dress up and run around with his cousins in costumes on the streets. And just getting it out.
Halloween is fun. Although my youngest son is very sad because his grandmother bought him a Spider-Man costume, and he is into Jason and Freddy now. And he wanted to be, his grandmother, my mother-in-law, said, I already bought it. And my oldest son, he's 11 now. He's like not into trick-or-treating anymore, which is like weird that 11's like. Although I remember, like, at that age, I kind of stopped, and then, like, when I was 13, I went out again. But
I was 13. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 13 is like the last year you can get away with it, and so I think there's a lot of kids who have that slump.
Well, I know they have an age limit at some places where 16 is like the cutoff. I don't want nobody with a beard going up for candy.
Yeah,
you guys just don't get it. What you do is you then trick or treat with a bag for your sick younger brother or sister, or you take your children or your nephews or your whatever out with you, and people just give you candy out of sympathy for taking kids. You never have to stop.
You see, I guess
know what you're doing.
Actually, Tyler, the thing is that as an adult, you actually can just dress up whenever you want to.
Cosplay!
Much like my son.
I do.
Much like my son Tristan does, who's like worn his Jason Voorhees mask pretty much every day this week.
If I can, like, I'm shocked right now that my child is not wearing his mask because it's so hard to get him without it. And he'll even just flip it up to where it just sits on top of his head like a hat.
Oh,
He's always got it with him. So I'm very shocked right now that he hasn't.
Children are all about identity, and that's how you create an identity as a child. Is you adopt an established identity to emulate anything other than your parents because your parents are lame. Because even then they know. But Jason Voorhees and Batman, they're cool.
Yeah, you want to get psychoanalytical on here? We'll crack that one open later.
Yes. Yes, my son loves serial killers. I understand that. It's.
Well, then tell him he should go, like, if he loves serial killers, he should go legit and dress up as H.H. Holmes.
Because that's a real serial killer who killed real innocent people. The thing about Freddy Krueger and about Jason Voorhees, they only kill the people that have some sort of sinful transgression. Basically, Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, they were the Old Testament God.
They're like Dexter, but but more creepy.
Well, yeah, because they're magical. So they're the Old Testament God, the God of the Old Testament. Where hey, you spilled your seed upon the ground. Guess what? The earth's going to open up and swallow you whole. Sorry, Oni or Onan or whatever his name was. Yeah, that's how it goes, man. Blood is transgression. When God's watching, he's like, "Oh, dude, no, I guess you didn't know." God is like, it's like the cops. When the cops are in a bad mood, it's like, oh, you know what? You're walking down the street in a way I don't like, I'm going to stop you. And, yeah.
Have you guys watched that fan-made trailer of, like, DC versus the horror icons?
No.
No.
Oh, I'll put it in the thing. It's edited so cool. Like, I would love to see a movie where it's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman versus Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers. Like,
oh, those guys. Okay.
That would be so like interesting to see, like just what they do. I mean,
what would make Riverdale better? Because they had an Archie versus Predator. Maybe they should make that their Halloween special.
I'm kind of curious when they bring the
Sabrina spinoff.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what you would think when it comes out, because I'm interested if it's going to be as dark as the way that they mentioned it.
Yeah, it is, because it's based on the Chilling Tales of Sabrina, which is like the newer version of the hip stuff. The original Sabrina. So
yeah, the Archie horror.
No groovy ghoulies is what you're saying.
Yeah, no groovy ghoulies. I'm sorry.
So I'm kind of curious. Like, like with Riverdale, there's like aspects I'm like watching. I'm like, I like this, and there's things I'm like, this is dumb. And you know what? I'm just gonna throw this out here. I don't like the way they do Josie and the Pussycats at all.
Correct.
and what's the take on Josie and the Pussycats?
Not because like I hate when people are like, oh, you don't like that they changed their ethnicity. No, I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all.
It's just the way they make that, especially the lead singer. Oh, she's so like obnoxious, and that's just not.
That's not Josie. Like, and nobody plays like an instrument except Valerie, sorta.
Kind of.
But like. I mean, I know that like Valerie at one point was just a tambourine player, and they eventually changed that. So good that they kept her on the instrument, but I don't know. It just annoys me, like because
they're into real music, but they don't have instruments. Yeah,
and like they cover songs and like.
But they only do original songs, is what she said in the first time she showed up, and I'm just like, Sugar Sugar is not an original song unless this is like some weird alternate universe.
Well, this is an alternate universe where obviously the Archies don't already have a band.
I like what I mean. The episode I liked in season 1 that I thought about them was when her dad showed up, who's the touring jazz trumpet player. And like he makes comments
way longer than I did. I gave it 3.
Okay, yeah.
No, I watched all.
Tyler's a bigger fan of Riverdale than Lilith.
Well, I had
alert the media.
I had a day off work. It was on my DVR, and I had 2 sick kids. So we just all hung out in the living room. I turned it on and just let it go. And I was like, I got nothing else to do but care for these 2. I'm just gonna watch on through. And like I said, there was interesting points. But at the same time, I was like, I wish they would do this different.
To be honest, I only showed up for Luke Perry, and then, spoiler alert, he died. So I was like, nope, definitely not coming back for season 3. He didn't?
There's no Luke Perry?
No, he just got shot. He's still good.
Oh, maybe then.
So let's keep our scorecard going. The Rock and Luke Perry.
Yeah,
I'm a 90s kid, man. Leave me alone.
Hey, it was like when Brian Austin Green just randomly showed up on Smallville. I was like,
oh my god, yes! I was like, is that? It is. I was also waiting for Megan Fox to show up at that point. Then I was like, is he going to get his wife some work or nah?
No. So,
USA Avengers parodied the Archies this week.
And I was going to say one more thing about the Archies is like I saw the commercial for the episode, when you're watching the CW app and all it does is advertise other CW shows, and it showed RG looking at comic books. And I was like, man, how like in universe hilarious would have been if like it was like the Adventures of the Arrow or something like in the comics he had over the other CW shows. Like I thought.
Well, no, because it'd have to be. They would have to do Red Circle or Black Circle comics, which is the Archie superhero books.
Right, and that's what it was,
Red
Circle. But it was just kind of, it would have been kind of funny if it was the CW stuff.
Since they're in the CW universe, Or
but then you have to do a crossover between, because that's not Warner's produced. That's so an Archie property.
Berlanti's got some pull. You know, he's like, hey guys, let me just get this wink. And they're like, all right.
No, he should have been reading the Arrow season 1 tie-in comics. That's what he should have been reading.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
no, actually, you know what? They can't do that because then they can't do an Arrow crossover event when the ratings start to collapse.
Hey.
See, they were able to think about it. And they said, "Well, wait, what if we ever actually want to cross over with Arrow?"
Well, you know what?
And have Felicity Smoke
you're talking
come
about
in
like the whole digital characters
and be friends with Veronica.
Like the digital characters things and like the crossovers. I think it's interesting. Like we're about to get on Injustice 2. They're about to drop here in like a week or two. Hellboy is going to be a playable character, and then Spawn. And I'm like, I'm pretty excited for like those two characters more than I am for my DC characters on that game. Like I'm really.
It seems like a rehash, but Injustice 1 is like a perfect game to me. I love it. I don't like all the downloadable content, but like it's just people got to stop supporting that, man. They just have to. It's a squicky practice.
I wish they would have done a spin-off like straight up Batman game, because then because it makes more sense to have a fighting game with Batman characters. And then like a fighting game with more of the godly super characters, because like everybody's deep powered.
Rudy, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the inherent problem of any kind of let fans play characters problems. I mean, you had the same problem when they first started doing role playing games with superheroes, and they had to depower everyone because they realized, oh, if someone actually plays the Hulk, he can destroy everyone.
No.
Yeah,
that's why you just play Black Widow and sing his little lullaby, and then he's asleep. He's out. He's done.
That wasn't actually an established idea until just recently. You have to remember, Tyler, the Marvel role-playing game came out in like the late 80s, early 90s. And as a result, it had actual comic book characters in it that they had to depower to make although I guess you could have done like a 70s Hulk in there, which is why I love the 70s Marvel's universe, man, because everyone was actually really realistic in their characters.
What was that, Bumble Phil? What was that? What'd you say? Level up. Yeah. All right, get my mushrooms out.
Level up. Yes. So.
Anyway,
like that game doesn't teach like kids. Oh, if I eat mushrooms, they'll help me grow big and strong. Yes, exactly. That's the whole point of Mario.
No, if you eat mushrooms, you'll see dragons.
Yeah, I was saying, if you eat mushrooms.
Well, you know what? For what it's worth, my mom got me to eat spinach via Popeye, and my kids ate mushrooms because of Mario.
Hey, all I know
the cartoon Popeye.
Spider-Man gets my kid to eat yogurt.
I was a grown man by the time that the Popeye movie came out, so
Really? You're that old?
I don't know. When did it come out? It was sometime
It was early 80s. It had to be from the.
Was it early 80s? I don't know. So maybe I was old enough to not be fooled by spinach.
Spinach is good.
No, I love spinach actually. I actually really like
Rockefeller. Yes. Spinach.
I actually like the Robin Williams Popeye musical. I sing the song Sweet Haven at least once a day, just as I'm wandering, because it gets stuck in my head. Sweet, sweet Haven, God must love us. That and
1980. Popeye came out in 1980.
And Everything is Food is the other song I like from that, which is the Rough House song.
Wait, you were a grown man in 1980?
I know, this sounds like
I was 6, and yes, at that point I was a grown man. I was at 6 years old. I was pretty much the man you see before you today. I was
shaving at 6.
I was embittered by the world by 6. Let's say that. No, I mean, okay, so maybe I'm over exaggerating how old I am.
Charlie, one of the people who wants to seem older than he is. Everybody else wants to be younger.
Well, here's what I'll say. I didn't see it in the theaters, so I probably only saw it later when we had cable. So I probably was a bit older than 6 at the time. That's probably like at least 10.
We were talking about CW shows. Did anybody watch any CW shows this week?
I watched The Flash.
I watched Flash and Supergirl.
You only watched
Legends of Tomorrow.
I can't. I'm done with Legends. I'm just like that's a big deal for me. Like,
I'm gonna watch the ISIS episode. Was that this week or next week?
That was this week. Yeah. Well, she didn't turn into ISIS.
I'll go pull it up.
They've established the ISIS character.
They've
established the Rip is gone.
Yeah, he's been gone for a minute, bro.
I can't. Well, he was in the premiere episode, and that was too much for me. I can't stand him. I can't stand that they keep rehashing the same things. I can't stand that they're all like bumbling idiots who get these stupid jobs, then get back together. I just feel like this show had so much potential, and they just don't know what to do with it.
I think the basic point was from the very beginning, this show never had potential, and it's always just one. It's always just waiting for Keith Geffen to give him the rights to Ambush Bug to put him on.
I mean,
because honestly,
think about the show.
The one thing the show needs is Ambush Bug.
What you could have done is you could have made an anthology series, or you could have had something where it doesn't have to every season be time travel. It could just be them dealing with different situations. You could introduce a new DC character in almost every episode to make it something enjoyable.
You're imagining that DC is at all creative in what they do, and it's not for nothing. If DC really wanted to they could do House of Mystery as a series. Now we have had two Tales from the Crypt movies, and not a single House of Mystery movies.
Oh yes,
tells you how limited the creativity at DC Hollywood is.
It's not about creativity; it's about what they think will sell and what they've done for their market research.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about.
If you're not gonna make. If you don't feel like you're gonna make the money.
I'm curious to see what.
Yeah, but you know what?
With this DC app when it launches with its live action Teen Titans, because I'm wondering where it'll go.
As far as making money goes, Marvel knows that they can sell a Man-Thing series. And
after Iron Fist and Inhumans, I don't think they're taking those risks anymore.
They know it's they know it's not going to be good, but they know it's actually out there, and they can make their money on it. A House of Mystery series doesn't have to be good to have it make money. It just has to have a low enough budget. The problem is that when you make films and you say every film has to be Justice League, that's when you start to lose money.
Well, we're just talking like TV and everything. I mean, Man-Thing, I know. I'm saying with Iron Fist and Inhumans.
Yeah, they're not.
The Marvel brand, on TV, has been damaged. Yeah. I mean,
Inhumans might be losing money unless IMAX ponied up the whole thing. See, that's the thing. That's what you have to understand. IMAX ponied up the whole thing,
even if they made
Marvel
money,
didn't lose money on it.
But
they only did the first. They only ponied up for the first 2 episodes.
Even if they made money on it, they've killed the brand because nobody cares. I mean, this isn't like we're what's our face? Canon Films here. Where we're just, we know how to make money, but we're making crap. Marvel's name is what makes them their money. That's why they can sell something like The Runaways, and
Inhumans is definitely. Inhumans is definitely hurting the Runaways. Hulu is probably really mad about the Inhumans, quite frankly, because the Inhumans is killing the brand. Although I actually was going to say, you mean my new favorite show, The Inhumans?
I watched the first 2, and I was going to watch the third one, and then I got busy, and then I decided.
Yeah.
I got other stuff to do.
I watched the first 5. I only got halfway through episode 6 last night.
I did watch all of episode 6 last night. I'm sorry.
2 to go, buddy.
It just from the first episode, I'm like, they completely shot themselves in the foot. But we won't go into all that. We need a separate podcast for that.
I think we've done 6 already. I think it's called Super Connectivity. Every week, how much I hate the Inhumans. Although this week,
it's a mini-series.
This week, so I'm watching the Inhumans. I'm just about to live tweet how stupid it is when my wife comes out to ask me to rub her feet. And of course I say sure because
that's what you do.
And we're watching the show, and she points out. No, this isn't that kind of thing. She points out. No, listen to me. This is important. This is the most important thing in Marvel Studio histories ever. Do you realize that the actor who plays Maximus played Ash on Vicious? Do you know what Vicious is? Vicious is the Ian McKellen Britcom vehicle, where he plays, big stretch for him, an aging West End actor who's very gay. And Ashton is the cute, dumb, or Ash is the cute, dumb boy who lives next door, who he's always flirting with. In a very creepy way with his husband watching. And actually his husband's always flirting with Ash too. But it just completely changes my perspective on the actor playing Maximus, because much like Robert Englund, the first time he shows up is as this kind of good-natured dumb guy who gets cast into this horrible monster role and then gets typecast as horrible monsters for the rest of his life. Robert Englund first shows up as Willie on V, which is a great character. He's like kind and sweet and a little slow on the uptake because he's like an alien from another world that is a completely different species. So, sorry, I don't understand your mammalian language. But he saves a person's life in his first appearance, and then goes on to be like, I don't really want to support the fascists of V, so let me just join the resistance because, dang it, I'm like sick of all this nonsense. The original miniseries, the actual good things before they started remaking everything.
Yeah,
it's not that bad, to be honest. It had Supergirl in it. The original Supergirl.
Okay.
Smallville Supergirl.
It has my new favorite worst Gotham character, but that's another story.
but my point is that much like Robert Englund,
I love her. I just hate what they do with her character. Continue, Charlie.
But much like Robert Englund, this actor, Irwin Rowan, starts out as this very good-natured comic actor who it's very easy to love, gets cast as some real jerk in Ramsay Bolton.
No, real jerk.
And then all of a sudden it was this, hey, we need a real joke to play a character. Give me that Ramsay Bolton guy. And it's like, okay, I guess this is my life now. It doesn't matter that I'm actually a very versatile actor who can do great comedy and broad comedy and subtle comedy and do all these great things.
We'll take it back to the UK if that's what you want. We typecast in America and we don't let it go.
I know, but it makes me sad. And also it makes me sad that I have not yet seen anyone meme something with Magneto and Maximus. Because they're in like 100 scenes together in Vicious.
Does anybody watch Vicious?
Anyone who watches PBS watches Vicious, and there's a very strong nerd overlap. Here's what I'm going to say.
So
I certainly watched Vicious myself as a nerd who likes public television and hence the BBC. Anyone who likes the BBC probably has seen Vicious. Anyone who likes Ian McKellen from the X-Men films probably saw Vicious.
There's a big stretch, like in the X-Men films.
Nah, it wasn't.
It depends on how old you were when they came out.
The Ian McKellen X-Men films were much better. I'm going to say that right there. Back when Xavier and Magneto were actually adults and not tweens, it was actually much better.
I don't know. Looking back, I like that casting, but man, even the supposed good X-Men movies are rough.
Yeah.
The only one I can watch that I enjoy is First Class.
Really? First class?
Really?
Just because I like Matthew Vaughn's directing. I like his style.
Yeah. I mean, go back and watch that one, right?
A good director does make a film. There's no denying.
Go back and watch the first X-Men. It's so dry and boring. Thank you, Bryan Singer.
Well, it's Bryan Singer. He's dry and boring.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sorry.
Much like all films, I like the third one the best.
the second most hated X-Men movie.
Charlie, didn't Peter David smack you around about Superman 3?
Yeah, well, he can smack me around as much as he wants.
What he likes. Okay.
I like what I like. You know what? Here's what I'll say about any third movie. There's an established universe with history. And I like that. And once you get to a third movie...
Or they go time traveling. You know, well, Turtles 3.
Hey, they did time traveling in the first Superman movie. And for what it's worth, Peter and David thought that was stupid too. So...
It was. That's why it was supposed to be in the second movie.
Yeah, it was stupid.
But then just blame the Saul Kinds.
No, it's not supposed to be in any movie. You don't fly backwards in time. You don't bury Ellen in it, okay? You don't mess with the timeline.
How many
just because you can't go back in time doesn't mean you should.
All right, Dr. Malcolm.
So anyway, I wanted to talk about CW shows. So Lilith, you didn't watch Arrow yet?
Or I don't think that I am gonna watch Arrow until the crossover.
You don't want to see Green Diggle?
That time, like, this is like kind of a rehash story that got dropped for Felicity. So, like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, I'm very upset with Arrow right now.
Thank you. That's this whole season. I had expectations, and I'm like, why is everything that comes up on this season seems like it's territory we already touched on? They just didn't do anything with.
Yeah.
So why didn't more people die on the island?
No, that is not a.
So why didn't anyone die on the island? I thought everyone was supposed to die on the island.
Baby mama.
Wasn't that the whole point of everyone dying on the island? Was that
no? Here's who died on the island. They got rid of the whole.
All of his friends are dead.
They got rid of the League of Shadows angle, so they could get rid of the whole Ra's al Ghul, Talia.
Well,
this is still. Oh no, yeah, this is still alive, right?
No,
who knows?
She was on the island and she hasn't showed back up yet.
Yeah,
I heard on Twitter though, like Mark Guggenheim said that she was still alive.
Then why did they even blow up the island? Because they should have been like Slave Queen.
Prometheus was not 10 steps ahead, apparently. That's a shame.
Kill the baby mama and put Thea in a coma. That's all.
Because Willa wants out, and I don't blame her at this point.
They got rid of. It should have been Oliver walked away from that island, all by himself, with William, and that was it. Should have got a whole new side cast of characters.
Okay, but can we talk about the dilemma that Arrow put itself in? Okay, so Oliver's like, hey, I don't want to orphan my son, so I can't be Green Arrow. So if he picks the mantle back up, it's like, hey, William, big middle finger to you and your feelings. And even trying to be a responsible parent.
No, that's because William's going to pick it up and become, like, he's going to go by the call sign of Tell. So he can be William Tell.
Okay.
No.
So, no, here's the thing.
They're going all night.
So,
every time... Hold on. They're going all Batman. They're going
you haven't said anything, I'll have to say.
Thank you. They're going all Batman Nightfall because, Lilith hasn't seen Arrow yet. Diggle's tremors are gone because, after the...
Oh, he's on tremors. Oh, trust me, I read it on Reddit, okay? I know what went down.
Well, he's injecting himself with something that's...
And it's going to lead to Richard Dragon and blah, blah, blah. Not interested. See you at the crossover.
They're going all Nightfall. Diggle's going to go crazy and Oliver's going to have to come back and pick up the mantle,
Yeah, well, so they're doing... So they're basically doing James Rhodes' Iron Man.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
well, Diggle's always been a poor man's roadie. I'm just saying. So, whatever. I'm over Arrow. I know that Felicity, that Lassie wasn't going to happen.
Lilith, I was so scared this week. Felicity said something about, like, what'd she say? She was, like, hungry or something. She was eating a bunch of chips, like, down in the air.
Oh, crap.
And I was like, oh, God, don't tell me she's pregnant.
There's no Lassie babies this season. That's next season, Philip.
Well, yes, and that makes sense
because they're going to save the babies for next season.
Just the wedding this season.
Yeah, well, it does take 9 months to make a baby, Lilith.
Not in TV time, always. Especially when there's magic in the universe. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
Cecile's
pregnant. Actually, Felicity gave birth to Oliver's baby, and it was trapped in the Speed Force when Barry did Flashpoint. and screwed up the timeline. So it actually exists in a parallel dimension.
Parallel dimension hell, because that's where it belongs. Because it's Satan's spawn.
Yep. So he shows up. That's the big bad for season 7. Is Oliver and Felicity's tortured baby from a parallel hell dimension.
Wait, isn't that Angel? They can't rip off Angel like that, right?
They can rip off everything else.
Again,
all kids named Connor are bad.
Quit pooping on my Fifi.
Hey, did anyone read DC House of Horrors this week?
Nah.
No, I need to.
Yeah, I wanted to, but it was $10.
All I need to say, 2 words. 2 words, and this will wrap up my Arrow talk. Ready? This is what we need. Sherwood Florist.
Yes, I thought Dina was gonna get it when she found the apartment, but and can we talk about no. Can we talk about Dina real quick? Who the hell does she think she is talking to my Diggle like that? I don't know you like that. You just showed up, lady. You need to just
Can we just talk about how her name was Dinah Laurel Lance and her mom was Dinah Drake? And then all of a sudden we have Dinah Drake show up, and everyone's like,
"Yeah, she's the time traveling mother." That's my theory. That's the only thing that makes sense in this crazy universe. She's flirting with Quentin now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because there's not going to be issues there when Quentin starts dating a younger woman who dresses like his dead daughter. Okay.
Who cares? It's Arrow. Everybody's got issues, like severe issues. So
Is Woody Allen directing this episode?
You never know. I mean, he's directing a movie about Harvey Weinstein. Why not?
No, that was an Onion article.
Was it? Because that seems like something that would happen in Hollywood. Because I was thinking about this when I saw that.
We live in a world where the Onion could be real news. Let's just throw that out here.
Because think about it.
Unfortunately, the Onion's like.
So
in Scream 3, yes.
No. Allegedly, on the set of Scream 1, something happened to Rose McGowan involving Harvey Weinstein. And then in Scream 3, which is a Harvey Weinstein production, they kind of talk about Sydney's mother. And I always kind of saw that as an allusion to that. So,
That would make sense.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Harvey Weinstein was a horrible human being. Although, hey, you know what?
Is he dead?
Speaking of, does anyone else think that it's kind of interesting that we're living in a world now where people are feeling finally empowered to take down powerful people with sexual harassment claims?
We'll see where it goes. Give it 1 year, he's going to have a new company. He's going to still be in that same boys club. That's just the way it is in Hollywood. Just give it time enough time for people to forget.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think you make a very valid point there, Lilith. But I actually think that it still will haunt him. Here's the thing.
Roman Polanski is still making movies and doing stuff.
Yes, and it still haunts him. And he can't come to the U.S. He can't ever set foot in the United States. I'd rather live on the French
Riviera than the U.S., but whatever.
Yeah,
you know what? Only because you can leave the French Riviera. This is the thing. And I know it's like it's the cheapest punishment imaginable, but it is a punishment. When you say there's a place you can't go, that is actually nice. It's like not being able to go to North Korea isn't really a punishment. Not being able to go to Manhattan is actually kind of a punishment. Not being able to go to Montana.
Who lived there for a long time. Nah.
I'm just saying.
It would be beautiful without New Yorkers. I'll just put it to you that way.
New Yorkers are the friendliest people on earth. Crocodile Dundee was
they're the only people on earth.
8 million people wanting to live in the same city. New York is the friendliest place on earth. Because you put 8 million Montanans in one city, those people are going to go Lord of the Flies within a week. I'm telling you right now. Okay. New Yorkers are people that said, you know what? You be you, I be me. I'm walking down the street. I'm walking.
Don't make eye contact.
No, because what's that going to accomplish? I'm walking here. I'm not going to give you trouble for whatever your life choices are. That is the New Yorker way.
I must have lived in a different part. That's not how it went down for me. But anyway.
Well, I am a white male, and we do walk anywhere we want to, and no one bothers us.
There we go.
So, maybe my perspective is a little different, but I don't like when people say New York is an unfriendly place. I find it
a different, apathetic place. That doesn't make it friendly.
Well, to me, that's the definition of friendliness.
Apathetic.
Hey, Lilith, as a misanthrope, you should love New York. It's a city where no one is going to get in your business. That's the idea. 8 million people, no one cares, and you cannot care about them too. And that's the ecosystem of it all, and that's what you should love.
If it just had more space, New York would be perfect, but it doesn't, so it's not.
You want space? Go to Central Park for the weekend. You know?
Oh no, there's people masturbating in the park. No, thank you. No.
Well, okay. And if you
That's not a safe place for a woman, Charlie. Are you trying to get me killed?
So this is
okay.
Yeah,
It's gonna get weird. I don't want to defend park masturbators right now. So
that is not the side you want to come down.
Okay, Peter David, settle down.
That's not the hill I want to die on today. So
let's talk about something happy.
Wait a second. Let's round out the CW. So, Lilith, you actually did watch Flash?
I like the Flash, but I don't like Cecile being pregnant. But they did bring up this house is bitching again, so I was like,
Iris and Wally are going to have a baby brother or sister.
Daniel West in the house!
That'd be cool. That's where they go. And then he grows up. He grows up in a Speed Force dimension and comes back angry and pissed.
Like, what? Does anybody know why Keon's Lionsdale left? Like,
no.
Is this permanent? Is he getting Malfoyed?
Is he going to Legends of Tomorrow?
That would be awesome.
He was in the season opener.
He was.
Hey, I said that before the film
broken up with.
Like, it would make it more interesting, give him more to do, because since Barry's back, the way they've been.
Yeah, he's like, nobody noticed I was gone. I was like, no, I sure didn't.
Nobody
but
cares.
You know, the problem with Legends of Tomorrow is they can't have speedsters, lanterns, and Kryptonians
cost money.
Are all too overpowered.
Well, Firestorm's
for most shows.
Yeah, Firestorm is truly overpowered
twice a year.
Yeah, well, that's why they. But Firestorm has a reason they don't use him aside from CGI, which is that you have to have him, do that high five in order to make him happen. So as long as you can keep the two parts separated, you have an excuse for why he doesn't show up. But like you have Wally West in there, suddenly you have a speedster, and it's like, okay, well, we have to get this guy back. Okay, done.
But
especially considering that he can travel back in time himself. It's like he doesn't even need the spaceship.
But he doesn't know how to do that yet. So
yeah,
he might not ever get that power because they said that Barry's going to have all these new powers from the comic books. So they might not ever incorporate that for this particular iteration of Wally. Unfortunately for him.
So
that's that.
But Legends, I think, is just biding their time until Constantine.
That's the only time I'm going to watch it.
Okay, I enjoyed this last episode. Like I said, I think that here's what I'll say. I'll say it again. I think that Legends has found its niche. Legend has realized that they are it's the joke show. It's the show about the stupidity of all DC comics and all DC characters.
It's stupid.
And now all of these shows are dumb, but we're gonna actually just hang a hat on it.
That's giving credit.
Because not for nothing, there's not a week on this show I don't hear every single one of you complain about every CW superhero show. About what's wrong with it.
It's all ridiculous.
The Flash is the jam.
Exactly. And
because we love it so much.
Legends of Tomorrow has said, you know what, it is all ridiculous. Let's embrace it. Let's just say, you know what, yeah, it's the Time Variance Authority and it is bureaucracy and it is stupid excuse. It is stupid hand-wavium excuses for why we made it fixed. And that's what makes it good. This season, previous seasons were lousy, I'll admit it. This season, I think, finally hits its stride. I think it hits its stride as what Powerless should have been.
As for Charlie, I will catch up on this show, and we will talk about it next week. And I will look at it from this angle. But I'm telling you, like, I feel like you are giving this show way too much credit.
Charlie gives a lot of things way too much credit, and that's why we love him.
Yeah,
He's the optimist, the optimist of this podcast.
Here's what I tell you. No, here's what I'll tell you. I'm not an optimist. I just have a low bar. That Inhumans limboed right under. That's what I'll tell you. I set that bar nice and low. I set at Captain America Death Too Soon. That is your bar. Can you clear Captain America Death Too Soon? If you can, I love you. If you can't, you're a horrible show. And like I said, Inhumans just, how low can you go? Limbo rocked it right underneath the bar.
That's why
like so much Hermes Conrad, it just moved right underneath it.
That is the bar. I mean, Inhumans is that low. I mean, Charlie was defending Powerless. Charlie defends Legends of Tomorrow, and Charlie can't defend Inhumans. You have a problem.
I did a whole podcast on why Iron Fist was not as bad as everyone said. And that was a Scott Buck property.
We got fucked. Hashtag we got fucked. Oh, we got to get that hashtag going. We got fucked.
We got.
What?
I'm sorry. What?
Gifted was great.
Yeah, Gifted.
I'm still
Gifted. Oh, that's still on. Okay, that's good.
Oh,
it's gonna stay on. I'm.
No, I know. Well,
3 seasons.
It's one of these shows that, much like the other X-Men properties. It's like I think the last X-Men film I saw. Oh, sorry, I saw Apocalypse.
Yeesh.
I saw.
Sorry.
I didn't see any of the Wolverines in between Wolverine Origins and Wolverine Old Man Logan.
So you didn't see The Wolverine.
You're
the one worth
much.
watching.
I saw the first one, which was decent because it had the Blob in it. Loved the Blob. I loved their Fred Dukes take. I love a fat super character.
PHAT. Look down.
Yeah, hey man, you know what? Listen, as a young fat man reading comic books, there were so few heroes like me, or even villains like me. Fred Dukes was the closest we ever got, and he was sort of a hero when he was on Freedom Force. And now we have Boulder, and that's a great thing. They actually made the Iron Spider get skinny eventually because he became a tech billionaire and started dating supermodels and, went on one of those crash diets and stuff, which is kind of sad. So they brought him back in the MCU universe with Spider-Girl, where she basically said, no, man, you were cool. You don't have to be a villain. For those who don't remember, the Iron Spider started out, he was actually a fan of Otto Octavius. Big surprise that I would like him. He was originally, he built his own Otto Octavius arms, and then he became the Iron Spider. He was a fat kid who had these big spider arms, which then Otto rips off when he does his own spider thing. But it's okay, because, it was geniuses riffing off each other, so I'm not going to call that a bad thing. And then Iron Spider eventually becomes a superhero. He eventually joins the, I think they were called the Misfits, with the Toad, the Frogman, and Iron Spider. They were basically all superheroes or villains who never quite made it, and they sort of formed their own team. Sort of a precursor to a lot of what we get nowadays. But writers had tried to pitch the idea long before, as always happens. And but then later on, he gets into, I don't know if he was on meth or cocaine or something, but he lost a lot of weight. He was like a tech billionaire, and he wanted to go back to being a superhero. This was in the MC2 universe, and he eventually, I think he was doing villainy, and then Spider-Girl in classic Squirrel Girl style, talks him back into being a good person. Which again, in U.S. Avengers, where they get Squirrel Girl so amazingly right in a mainstream Marvel book, has her stop and talk to the bad guy they're fighting and say, look, we're just trying to do X. Can you help us get to Y? And they go, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. U.S. Avengers, the only book that came out this week, still a great book.
Hey, that Bazinga reminded me of something, Phil.
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody dethroned Big Bang Theory's ratings. Do you know what show that was?
What was that?
What schmaltzy show that I love when I need a good cry? This Is Us dethroned Big Bang Theory, and I couldn't be happier.
No, what show was that?
This Is Us on NBC.
Ah.
With Milo Ventimiglia.
It beat Big Bang Theory.
A couple of other people I can't remember. Oh, Justin Hartley. Justin Hartley's in them.
Nice.
The other Green Arrow. That's right.
Yes. My favorite Green Arrow.
This Is Us is a
beat Big Bang Theory.
It's schmaltzy. It's corny. It's hallmarky, but I mean, people like it. People have been responding to it.
So is Big Bang Theory showing its age then? You think?
I think so. Everybody's all paired off, having babies.
I know.
Over it.
I mean,
Ron still has to find love.
We get whole episodes where we don't get any comic book references or,
Wolverine's proctologist. Making Raj so effeminate. Like, I watched the one, I don't even know if it was a rerun. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Him and Penny were in, like, the same shirt. Was this a new episode or not? Like, he lost his apartment, apparently?
That was an old episode. Well, they're all old episodes. They're constantly on reruns at this point. The show's made its money back.
Absolutely.
First off, there's two ways you can take Raj. Either he's closeted gay, or he's just a effeminate heterosexual, which is again one of these demographics that's horribly underserved in popular culture. The idea that you can be a heterosexual who likes to sew. But
does he have to be the man of color that's that way? Like I just
they doubled up.
To be fair. The last effeminate heterosexual male was Rosie Greer, who did needlepoint. And so there is a history of this. Rosie Greer famously did needlepoint and loved it. Was very good at it too. Was quite the craftsman. He would have been huge in our current craft society. I think he's dead now. I don't know why I think Rosie Greer is dead, but it just seems like he was a big man from a long time ago, and so he probably isn't still around. I should IMDb him. But But the thing was, back in that day, in order to be an effeminate man, you had to be Rosie Greer. You had to be the biggest, baddest football player in American history to be able to get away with doing needlepoint. You had to be freaking not Joe Montana. No, was it Joe Montana? Broadway Joe? In order to get away with being, say, you like to wear ladies' hosiery. It was a very different time.
Keep your fetishes to yourself. I thought that's what we agreed to in this puritanical society.
Well, unfortunately, you know what? Back in the 70s, keeping your fetishes to yourself was the rule. But in our modern society, no. Now everyone wants to get up in your business. And even if you're not hurting anyone, that's got to be part of the national narrative. So, don't get me started.
What is this podcast, Philip? You're supposed to be moderating.
This week with Charlie Esser.
You know what? This is all Philip's creation. He used to keep us separated. And he said, but what would happen if I mixed the acid and the base? Maybe that would be interesting.
What happens if I mix gasoline, matches, and Charlie's the C4?
This is what you get, Phil.
I have no problem.
Yeah.
But do we all agree next week? I'm Tyler. I know you said you're on vacation, but Lilith and Charlie, Thor Ragnarok next week.
I guess.
Listen to
me. Okay. I'm gonna say that up for super connectivity. But I have to find the money to go see the movies because I ran out of money recently because of life problems because life is not fair. And
he got a TV from this century.
What no, hold on, wait. What movie theater is near you? Do you have like a?
I mean, they have matanees. I'll go see a matinee.
No, like AMC or something, or what is it?
Yeah.
I'll send you a gift card. Or Fandango or something. No, seriously.
You don't have to do that. I don't like charity, you know.
It's not charity.
It's house sitting in there.
It's friends helping a friend out.
Okay, well, yeah, if you want to, you can. Yeah, I go to AMC. That's usually what I do. But there's the AMC Clifton in New Jersey. That's where I usually go.
This podcast is not sponsored by AMC, but if AMC wants to sponsor us, you're more than welcome.
If they would like to give us lifetime passes to the movies, that would be okay.
I will go change into my AMC shirts I have right now and just sit here and be like, AMC?
I've got the lifetime popcorn bucket somewhere around here.
Yes. I'm like a Stubbs member. I get like free movies all the time. I just don't have my free movie ready for this particular movie.
No one should have to pay for Thor Ragnarok. And my boyfriend.
You know what? I think it's going to be good, even though I got the spoiler that ruined it for me, and now I'm real sad about it, and I don't know how I'm going to feel about the whole show.
I mean, but
I'll talk about that in Super Connectivity.
That's what gets to me. It's like, if you get spoilers opening weekend, that's one thing, but I mean, at least in this country, it's not even out yet. It's like another week.
It was my own fault, because there was a spoiler warning at the top of the page. CBR was very straightforward. But it was about characters I loved, and so I clicked on the link, not reading it fully. And then I got to that point where it said what happened. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, my favorite.
I didn't even read the whole article, so I don't even know if it redeems itself.
My favorite is I was just watching TV, and they had a commercial for it, and it showed another Marvel character that pops up in this movie that I didn't expect to show up in this movie, but he did. I was like, oh, great. Can we throw some more?
I'm sorry, Tyler.
characters?
Yeah, the Hulk is in the movie.
Not the Hulk. Another one.
Yeah.
You haven't seen the new TV spot? That hasn't been.
Here's what I tell you. Doctor Strange?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's been out a while. Yeah.
Hey, I've been trying to avoid stuff.
Doctor Strange.
I mean, he was in the post-credit scene, but I didn't know he was going to be in Ragnarok. So
he's
for like 5 minutes, probably, yeah.
And I'm like, man.
I think he's in a bit more than that.
Oh, really? You think so?
Oh, yeah. No, he's one of the Revengers. I think.
Oh, yes.
All I'm saying right now is...
I thought he was just opening the portal to get Thor where he had to go or something.
I have a low bar for this film coming. Just because I feel like they don't know what they're doing with their Thor character. So they just got to keep ripping off other movies with Thor.
They just secretly give us the Hulk because, they can't do anything actually with a solo Hulk. So they have to have him
you know what? The Hulk is a hard story to do as a solo. The Hulk
it had a TV series that ran for years.
In which there were no other superheroes.
Exactly. You can do a Hulk
exactly.
movie.
What my point is that you could do a Hulk story in a non-connected universe. You could do a decent Hulk story if the Hulk is your first super being.
Which is why they initially wanted to start out with him.
Well, exactly. They did, but then Aang kind of...
It's not Aang, it was casting, to be honest.
You know what? It was the writing. It always goes back to the writing. Although sometimes with Scott Buck, it comes back to the production. The producer. It comes back to a producer not... knowing enough. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It always comes back to the producer. Because the producer is the one who has to tell the writer and the director, you have to be the Stan Lee. So whatever you want to say about Stan Lee, when Jack Kirby calls Stan Lee an editor, what I say is like, yeah, because you needed a freaking editor, you pretentious fop. You needed someone to pull you back and say, no, that doesn't make sense. You need to have this story make sense. You need to have these characters work within the dynamics we've created.
So somebody has to sit
and so you need some
and tell them off like a 19th century.
Yeah, you need a suit. Everyone always complains about the suits, but the suits are the only thing that saves most movies.
Sometimes
everyone complains, "Oh, the suits ruined it. The suits ruined it." It's like, no, usually it's the artist who ruins it because the suit didn't want to mess with the artist. That's my opinion. It's a controversial opinion, I know.
It is.
But as a guy who has written, directed, and produced a film that's not very good, I can tell you, I don't know if it's good or not. I like it, but we'll see if it ever gets finished by my editor. So you need someone to. I know that when I was a writer, I needed my co-creators to reel me back. I needed my actors to tell me how to act. I needed people there to not let it be just my own
bubble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and you'll see. This is why people's early works are always better than their later works, because in their later works they're given much more freedom, and they start to get in their own heads about what they like and what they think is a good movie. Whereas when they first start out, they've got some suit there saying, "Hey, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back." That doesn't make sense to me. I'm an audience member. I'm sitting watching what you're doing, and I'm sitting here on my couch asking, why does Maximus fall asleep on a throne? Which was the opening scene of this week's Inhumans. It's like, how does he fall asleep?
Show is poop. That's why. That's your answer.
Why is Maximus bored with this movie? He's in the show and he's bored with it. He fell asleep.
We need a We Got Bucked button because this comes up every week.
Well, it's only 2 more
weeks. I enjoyed the sound effects, Phil.
I know. Okay, I know, Charlie. I don't think you watch it. Lilith, I'm not sure where you're at. Tyler, did you watch Walking Dead, the premiere?
No. I haven't got to watch anything more. If it's graphic and violent, I haven't got to watch anything because
baby,
I have my child with me.
The war has begun. The character I have I won't spoil anything. The character I have in the pool at work may be close to dying. So
nice.
How much money? How much money?
What? $50.
Don't worry, Tyler. In about 4 years, your son will be asking to watch Nightmare on Elm Street with you. So,
hey, if
my kids are any indication, so
he watches it with me. I just don't want to keep him watching it with me. Like every now and then he'll watch something, and I'm like, okay. But I'm like, you're too. I don't want to ingrain too much in you right now.
But you have to see. Here's my view on parenting. Expose them to fake violence early, so they understand that there is fake violence and real violence.
Yeah.
Because fake violence is okay, real violence is bad. Because kids learn about real violence in their actual life, and letting them see that there's a differentiation between that fake violence they see on TV and the real violence that you experience in your life when you get spanked or burn your hand on the stove because you reached out and grabbed it, and your parents aren't the kind of people who spank you. These are the things that are important for a child to learn.
Yeah.
Really likes it, and I hate to deny him anything he likes because I'm a bad parent.
On the grill on the Charlie.
I'll let my kid listen to the Misfits.
Okay.
Nice.
That's fun. You know what struck me as weird today? So they're doing a heavy metal episode of Teen Titans Go, and I'm listening to this song they're playing, and it kind of sounds to me like kind of hair metal. But it struck me that most of what I think about as heavy metal is kind of death metal. And that there's this entire spectrum of metal that gets kind of superseded by the farthest end of the spectrum. Because I realized that technically Kiss is heavy metal, and that, even Ozzy Osbourne had songs that were kind of lyrical in its structure. That metal isn't just that. It's not that heavy bassline metal. There's actually a lot of other kinds of metal out there.
Yes.
Cool to me to get reminded that, metal isn't just one thing. There's lots of kinds of metal. Just like the Metalmen.
Oh, God.
DC reference.
I know.
I'm waiting for them to pop up on one of these shows.
You have to run.
It's going to be Legends.
You have to run. Are they going to spend the money?
I don't think Legends can afford the Metalmen. That is like pure
just
CGI
one. It'll
characters.
be just one.
Hey, it'll be just like the way they do Citizen Steel. They'll look human. They'll look human, and then all of a sudden they'll just like flash real quick and show you their sheen of metal, and then they'll be like T-1000s or something. Like they'll just look human most of the time.
That defeats the point of the Metalmen.
It does, but DC on TV, what you can do.
They gotta find ways to cut costs.
Yeah.
Is anybody watching Lucifer still?
Yeah.
I'm
still enjoying it.
It's all right. Why are you up to date on it, Lil? Or no?
I am.
I mean, it's
my wife likes the show, so it's on our DVR. I haven't actually watched any of it.
That's kind of how it is. Like
the wings are so glorious. I love it.
I'm getting beat up by.
See, how do they get budget for wings?
Because it's Fox.
It's on Fox.
Yeah, there you go. It's Fox.
Do you think they've come up a little since last season, like the quality and story?
I definitely think that the cinematography and the scoring of the episodes are better. I don't know that. I think that the writing is better.
Mm-hmm.
The acting's always been good for what it is. So
we're still talking about Lucifer.
Yeah. Tom Ellis has just really gone hard for his character though. Now he's like really embraced it. So it's getting a little kooky though.
Oh, it's a Spider-Man special guest.
Spider-Man.
He's gonna beat me up if I'm not careful. I'm gonna get beat up live on YouTube with my 2-year-old.
Yeah. See, when Tristan was that age, he loved Spider-Man too. Now
he loves dismemberment.
Now Freddy Krueger, yeah.
So
he loves Saw and.
I'm curious.
I'm going to see that today, actually.
Okay, message me after you do, because I'm like curious because no one I know has seen it yet, and I'm curious if it's good or if it's just bad.
What?
It can't be worse than that 3D one. So.
What?
Oh my!
What?
That's
the 3D.
my bar for Saw.
Wow.
I told my friend, I was like, look, the only thing about 7, which is the 3D, is the final, like, I don't even want to say twist, just final moment. We were like, oh, okay, thank you for clearing that up that we've forgot about for 6 movies.
Yeah. I love the Saw franchise, though. I mean, I spent a lot of time every Halloween going to watch that movie, so.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is, I've always said this, 5, 6, and 7 could have been 2 really solid movies. Because, I mean, you got to think, after a while they decided, let's only make these an hour and a half so we can stretch them out longer.
Yeah.
I wish they would touch on the sexual frustration of serial killers more.
Wow.
I'm a strict Freudian in my understanding of serial killers.
Have you not seen?
I want to see Jigsaw master. I want to see Jigsaw with his pants down in one scene. Just go, yeah. Saw your leg off. That's what I want to see.
I mean, he was in the room.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh yeah.
Tyler, have you actually seen the original short movie it's based on?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because it came with the first DVD.
Yeah,
it's
on
short
YouTube.
movie. There's a short.
Yeah, it was based on a short.
They pitched a movie called Saw. It was a short film that had Lee Winnell in it, and basically he was in the reverse bear trap. And they did the movie, and that's how they presented it. And then they got the funds to do the actual Saw movie. And then what's funny is everyone forgets how small the first one was and who was behind it. Because then basically, I mean, Darren Lynn Bousman had more to do with the Saw franchise than James Wan did.
Exactly.
Because,
I mean, there's not even a trap in the first one. It's just, hey, there's a saw your leg off.
Go there, go that way.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll message you. I hope it's good.
So, like I said, I'm curious about it just because, I mean, there's could be a potential or there could be just more junk.
You two do a review.
I don't know when I'll ever get to see
wants
it.
me to take him to it.
That's my thing. I don't know when I'll ever get to see the movie.
So,
there we go. A Lilith and Tristan review.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Oh, yeah, Tristan will be so into this. He will sit there and talk with Lilith for an hour about it. You know that. You know what? Here's what I'm going to tell you. There was an ad on Indeed this week for a HR admin paying $90,000. Only required in a high school diploma. If I get that, then dreams come true. But
hey, that's awesome. I'll be praying. Hey.
Yeah, man. I'm all about that. I'm just
This is what I live with.
You get your hopes up when you're looking for a job.
This is what I live with.
Right now I got a call for a job that pays $23 an hour, which would be great in Secaucus, and I'll take it. Just need benefits because we're like on lousy benefits from my current employer, and I'm just waiting for everything to go. I'm waiting for the wheels to come off the wagon.
Life, man, just got real.
Yeah. Yeah, for those who wonder why I like the apple juice so much, it's because sometimes apple juice is the only self-care you can afford.
All right, let's round this out. Favorite comics this week?
Only one comic book came out this week. U.S. Avengers. Suck it, Riverdale.
Ow.
I didn't read any comic books again. Sorry.
Peter David's Scarlet Spider number 9 came out this week.
Creator Pandora.
He was nice enough to come on this show.
That's right, and he said there's something big coming.
No, Phil's obsession with the Scarlet Spider. I'm gonna have to analyze this a little bit.
Just wait a few days, you'll see.
Mm-hmm. Who's he fighting in that? Was that one of the slingers or?
Yeah, Hornet. No one knows if it's the original because he was kind of killed by Wolverine, but it's like it's comics, so
nobody stays dead.
That's right.
Not even Jean Grey.
That's right. Oh, you knew.
Are there like 4 of them now? I don't know.
6.
The
baby.
I'm not counting all the Rachel Greys,
I told you.
Okay.
There's like at least 2 of every X-Men now.
Cannon
fodder.
You always got to have your backups.
Okay, Lilith, you'll agree with this more. Renato Jones, season 2, number 4.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but.
And Corey Andrews has been kind enough to agree to yet another interview where me and Lilith will talk
see if we can
that.
pull a spoiler or 2.
Hey, so real quick, I want to say this. It's random, but before I get beat up anymore by Spider-Man, I have an idea for all people who are into cosplay. I have an idea for a reality show. It's called Cosplay by Only Shopping at Walmart. That's what I want to see. Make good cosplay by only getting your materials at Walmart.
See,
but they have the animal head, the Maskimals now. So
those are creepy.
See, I mean,
I have like 3 of them.
Well, wait, doesn't Walmart have an entire craft section? Isn't it like what Kmart used to be?
Well, the craft section is poop, though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you go, you look at people cosplay, like they get stuff online. Yeah. They go to really nice places. I'm saying you can only go to Walmart.
Well, no, I say don't limit it to a certain store because I mean people go to like Goodwill and stuff.
A budget?
Yeah.
No, but see that's the thing.
A budget, yes.
That's okay. Budget would be one thing, but I think like only shopping here because then you could get people who are like, oh, you made this by only going to Walmart. Now I can go and make this costume.
So you know
or rotate like. This week's episode is Walmart. Next week is
Kmart. And if Kmart's even open anymore.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 around here.
So you used to be able to buy bolts of fabric at Kmart. You can still buy bolts of fabric at Myers in Michigan.
At Walmart. I think the Walmart.
Myers goes all the way down to Kentucky now. So.
Ooh. The dominant.
Of course, I used to live in Louisville. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Myers. That is just your one-stop shopping. When you want Hungarian bell peppers at 2 a.m, that's where you go.
Hockey. Shout out to Ellie and Kelly.
And if you want tropical fish too,
for a hamster
section. Exactly. It's like a store with a pet section and a grocery section and a craft section and an electric. It's crazy.
And it's a step up above Walmart. Let's just be. It's lower than Target. So it's like right in between.
It is, yeah.
But
no,
they
Myers is
more
just
stuff.
the greatest.
Myers has,
the thing about Myers is
quality stuff.
Exactly. Well, because they're all
right.
We have
Myers started in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, the Myers family that owns the botanical garden.
Yeah, the Myers family owns every store. They don't do franchise like other places. So they keep strict control. So every Myers is at a Myers quality. And that's their thing. And they only move into a market when they know they can support the market. They're very conservative in the way they build their business. Which is why I think in the long term, Myers will eventually be the dominant marketer of the big box store.
Well, Midwest only. I heard they never had any interest of going past Colorado. So
it's entirely possible, but I think that once you get to Colorado, it's like Alexander the Great. You don't want to conquer the United States until you get to the edge of the Bering Straits, and you realize that there's some more worlds to conquer. As soon as you get there, you realize, well, maybe we can dip our toe on the other side of the mountain.
I don't think that they could ever really get a foothold in places like Nevada or California, though.
Ow, Solomon.
Like I said, I don't know. I was surprised at they've gotten outside of Michigan. So,
You go for
that's been a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, but for me, every time I see Mars expanding, I feel happy about that, which is weird because now I'm like tied to this corporate overlord. But there are Walmart, and they seem like a nicer version of them.
I was gonna say, yeah, there could be worse corporate overlords. They own a lot of stuff in Grand Rapids. A lot. I think they own the arena football team, their hockey team. It's not the pro team. It's the whatever's under pro hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know they started in Greenville, Michigan, and that's where Store One is. Because I once went to Store One, and I once actually dated a girl who worked at Store One, so history.
Anyway,
should we wrap this
I
up?
worked at Little Caesars Store One.
I worked at Little Caesars in high school.
Pizza. I worked at McDonald's.
It's a great. I worked there too. I worked pretty much everywhere.
I think every teenager should work fast food at some point in time.
Everyone should at least.
I think when you're 16, that's the job you should get because
13.
Child labor laws, Charlie.
13, at least in Michigan, 13 was the youngest you could work if you got your working papers. I got my first job at 13. I expect my kids to get their first job at 13.
Can you do that?
I told them if you save. I think so. I think you can start working at 13.
Like a paper route? Do you want them to get a paper route like a real job?
I want to get a real job, W-2, start filing taxes, and
You mean a 1099?
Yeah, and I want them to save up money so that when they're 16, they can buy their first car.
You're not gonna buy it for them? Terrible parent, Charlie. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I said
I'm trying to script together money. I'm trying to script together money to go see Thor Ragnarok, and I won't be able to take my poor beloved child to go see Saw because of it. So think about that for a moment. I'm putting my needs ahead of theirs because I'm a horrible parent. All he wants to go is go see a rated R movie with me. He's all of 8 years old.
I got a piece.
And I can't do that.
All right.
I gotta head out. Sorry, man.
Phone call coming. All right.
Okay.
Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye, Tyler.
Talk to you later, Jonathan.
I was gonna say, should we wrap this up anyway?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we still gotta do super connectivity.
Super. All right. So, Lilith, where can people find you?
You can find me live tweeting the Flash on Tuesdays and the Gifted on Mondays at Little Tall Fire. Some cool stuff coming up around December. If you want to follow at Adventures in FG on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Check out my website, adventuresandfangirling.com. And of course, check back here every Saturday to see me and my boys podcasting.
Yay. You can always write to me in an old-fashioned email way, the way Miles and Paz once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters as I live tweet something. I didn't live tweet Inhumans this week because my wife wanted her feet rubbed, and that was a much better use of my hands than tweeting how much I hated the Inhumans. But I will live tweet other things eventually at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEssser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality. Take it away, Phil.
I wasn't quick enough on that button. Okay, you can get a hold of me, NightwingPDP at gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at NightwingPDP, especially if you want to set up an interview with our crack team, or if you want to discuss anything, pop culture, or entertainment. Capes and Lunatics at gmail.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Capes and Lunatics, at Capes Lunatics on Twitter, and the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38 and send us your thoughts on Thor Ragnarok, because we're doing it next week. We're gonna go live probably at night or something.
I don't know. Whatever.
All right. Well, we're 9 a.m. because I'm probably
Capes and Lunatics After Dark. Yeah.
Yay! I'll be sure to wear pants.
I won't.
Both of you. Oh. Ooh.
It'll be a dress pillow.
All right. Join us next week for the pantsless episode of Thor Ragnarok. This has been the Capes
and
the Lunatics.
Yes, we sound professional anymore.
Boo! I hate it.
Ampersand!
You don't know highbrow when I say it. See? It's almost over. Let's let go.